Today we will discuss about wrapper classes in Salesforce. What is the wrapper class? Why we need? Where we can use these? Wrapper classes we use when we deal with the different kind of data altogether, or you can relate it in simple words as on we have the objects in Salesforce, and on the objects we can create different type of fields, and all the fields can be addressed by the object as we have created the fields on any object. So in similar fashion, let's say when we want to deal with the different kind of data, different kind means like we may need to deal with the object kind of data or the primitive type of data. In that case we will use a wrapper class. So I'll put one example here where I will display the account records along with the checkboxes. So how we can do that, let me create one apex class. So let's create one apex class. Let's say account wrapper controller. This is my wrapper class here. What I will do, I will display the account records. Let me show you how it will look like then later on. So you can see here all the records. See, we have these check boxes. So we can select any account. So type of these check boxes will be the boolean, and this is the account data, means the s object or object. So here when we need to deal with the two different kind of data, we use wrapper classes. So let's create the further things in the wrapper class. How we can define the wrapper class? So wrapper class will be the inner class. Inner class means the class inside the class. So this is the main class. Here we will declare the wrapper class. Public class account wrapper. And inside this inner class we will declare the attributes. So what we need to do, we need to display accounts along with the checkboxes. So for that, let's declare the data type public account object account get set public boolean. Let's say is selected or is flagged. You can define any attribute of type checkbox and get resetted. Let me define one constructor here. Constructor will always have the class name, and I will initialize my attribute some value. And what can be the value? uh, this dot objcc equals to new account. I'm instantiating the default value, so creating the memo. This dot is selected equals to, it's a false. False means I don't want any account should be selected. All the accounts in default should be unselected. So I'm using this because I want to forcefully reference these values, means with respect to current class or these attributes which are inside this class. I want to initialize the values for those. We use this for that when we are referring the current context. Now let's go to the top class and declare the attribute. So to communicate between via page and the apex class, we need the attribute or variable by which we can send the data from apex class to the component. So for that, let's create a variable. This time we will send the data of wrapper type, means this wrapper type. Inside this wrapper, we will have the combination of account and the checkbox. So let's declare one variable, public list of wrapper, get set. After that, let's define one constructor. Again, constructor for the main class. Here I will put the queries. I will build the queries here. Query will run on the account. There are two ways to do that. I can create the list first, list of account. I can build the query here, select id comma name comma phone industry rating from account. I will iterate over this list now. How? I will use the for loop account obj acc and that list. Now I will instantiate my constructor because I need to reference these variables. So I need to instantiate this obj wrapper equals to new account wrapper. With the help of this instance variable, I can reach to these attributes and I can set the data. So obj wrap dot objacc, this is the account type of data, means we will store the account inside this. We are getting account here, and this checkbox will always have the false value. Let me again initialize that, or is selected false. How I will get the data one by one in this instance variable of this account wrapper. I will put add this data because I can use my list account wrapper to store the multiple data. I'll use the same here like this. Let me save it now. Okay. So again, let me explain it what I'm doing. I'm creating the wrapper class. Wrapper class we use when we want to deal with the different kind of data all together, or in similar fashion when we want to store the different type of data in any in Salesforce org, we create the objects, and on the Salesforce objects we can create different kind of fields. And in Apex, when we want to deal with multiple or the different kind of data, like primitive type or non-primitive or the object type, we create the wrapper class. So in the wrapper class we can define the any kind of attributes, like this is my wrapper class. Wrapper class is nothing, this is inner class which is the inside this parent class. If you see, this is the inner class. Inside that I have declared two attributes. One is the account type variable objacc, another is the checkbox boolean type variable is selected. Inside the inner class of constructor, I am doing the initialization. I'm initializing the default values, like I'm instantiating this account obj account attribute and assigning the default value for the selected. What I am doing here, because I need to populate the data inside the wrapper to send it to the via page. So I have declared one variable of list account wrapper, and type of this variable is list of account wrapper, means we will be going to store the multiple account wrapper, and inside the account wrapper we will have the account and the checkbox. So I'm doing the same thing. I have created one constructor here. I'm making the query on the account. I will get all the accounts which are available in the Salesforce org. I'm here iterating over the list of accounts one by one and putting those into the account object. Again, because I need to set these attributes, these belongs to this account wrapper. I have instantiated this wrapper. This is the instance variable of this account wrapper. Again, I have to, what I need to do, I need to set the variables which are under this wrapper. So if I see under this wrapper, there are two variables. One is object account, another is selected. So what I'm doing, I'm referencing, or I'm reaching to these attributes with the help of this account wrapper, because these both the attributes variables are inside this class. So using objwrap.objcc, I'm putting this instance variable account. Let me see account like this, so you won't be confused, and making is selected false, then again putting this obj wrap into this list. Now I can return this list to the vf page where I can iterate to display the data. So let's create the vf page. Account wrap vf. Let's use this controller here. We have controller keyword. Let's create one apex form. Inside this, let's create one apex page block. You can put any title, displaying account details with wrapper classes. You can also put tab styles. Tab styles means which tab style should inherit. So if I put account, then it will look like this in this color account. You can put contact or any object you can put inside that. Let's create one page block table. So I will iterate over this list of account wrapper. So it has two mandatory attributes. One is variable, another is var. Obj wrapper. Let's create the text column. Inside the value, we will put, okay, so this is the instance variable of this wrapper, and if you see the type of this list account wrapper is this account wrapper, you can go there and you can get the data. So with that instance variable or with this obj wrapper, the where first I will reach to this objcc, and then I will get the account object details of this account. How? Let's see. Obj wrapper, this is the attribute dot, and in dot I will reach to this objacc. I will have the instance of account. Now I can get any field of the account like name, phone, email. We don't have standard field email on the account, but we can create the custom one. Let's preview it now. Let it load. Okay, it's saying attempt to system dot null point exception, attempt to dereference null object. So let's go back there, go back to the code. In the apex class, this is the exception. We can also provide like the try catch to handle it. If I'll put the try catch, how I can put, let me show you. Exception e. So exception e is the generic type of exception. Here I'm putting all the code where I think there can be the exception, and in the catch we can put some logs, or we can display the message as well. Exception. So see, we can get the exception plus e, I mean this attribute e dot get message, like what exception we have got. Save it. If you see, we are not getting the exception. We got the screen, but there is exception. But because we are not getting the data, there is something wrong. We can check the log to see what exception was there. Click on debug. Attempt to dereference null object. If you want to get the line, like at what line we are getting the exception, put another log. Exception at line number. Here e dot we will be going to use e dot get line number. It will give you the get line number where we are getting the exception. Let's check the debugs. You can say line number 16. So in your code, you can visit to the line number 16. Means here on this list account wrapper, it's saying attempt to dereference null object, means it's not getting the memory. So we have to instantiate that. We have to initialize the memory. How we can do that? So use this equals to new and this list wrapper. So we are creating the memory with the help of new keyword, or we are instantiating this list account wrapper. Go back there. Here you can see we got the data. Now you can put this other fields here in the similar fashion. Industry rating. We have got the data. So you can see that there are certain fields, industry is blank, rating is blank, or phone is blank. You can put the clause, where clause conditions in your query to filter out the records. So go back to the query, put here where industry is not equal to null and rating is not equal to null. We want to get only that data where we have the data in industry and rating. We don't want any blank field. In similar fashion, you can put on account phone number as well. So we are displaying only the account data with the help of wrapper. Now let's display the checkbox as well. Go to the VF page, create one more column here. Use Apex. We have input checkbox, this one, and here we will use value attribute. Definitely inside the value we will use is selected. Obj wrapper dot is selected, which we are declared here. Let's save it. It's not saved yet. Reason is this. It's saved. We have got the checkbox, you can see. So you can perform the further actions on click of these checkbox. For example, let's say if I want to display the child records, means whatever the number of contacts we have under this account, and when we click on this checkbox, on the click of that checkbox, I can get the data here in any another page block. So when I uncheck, I'll because I will not have the data, I'll make the query on click of this checkbox. So we have for that action function and action support, which we use to fire the actions or call the server side function. We can use those. So which we will talk about the action function, action support, action region, about all these in the further session. So this is all about the wrapper classes in Salesforce. We use those when we want to deal with the heterogeneous data or the different kind of data.